Wherever I look, I seem to see musicians torturing themselves because of how they view mistakes. And it hurts me because it's just so unnecessary. Well, today I'm going to share some thoughts on how you can change things. By the end of this video, you will feel less worried about the thought of making mistakes. This means that you're going to enjoy playing your music more, and you'll probably find that you actually end up making fewer mistakes as well. When my students have changed their attitude to mistakes, it's often completely transformed their experience of playing music. Now let's start with a fact. Everyone makes mistakes. Don't care who you are, even the pros. And as I say that, I imagine that you're probably there, nodding along with your head, thinking, yeah, that's true. But I bet that you still react every time you make a mistake. And what that means is that on a fundamental level, you believe there's something more than that. Maybe it's, yeah, everyone makes mistakes, but I shouldn't make mistakes. Or perhaps, sure, everyone makes mistakes, but oh, I should never have made that mistake. That mistake was terrible. And you'll probably also be looking at the reasons why. Okay, I got this technique wrong, my fingering wasn't right, whatever it is. But again, every time you're looking for a specific answer, this is why it went wrong, that's pretty much the same as saying, it shouldn't have happened. There is some way where I could have stopped it and fixed it and it wouldn't have happened. We've got to change that attitude that you've got. Because, first of all, as we've seen, it's not possible to avoid every mistake. And in fact, you shouldn't try and avoid every mistake. And if you're going to take that view, then you need to get willing to have them happen to some extent. And the first thing that I want to say to you is be kind to yourself. Playing music is an incredibly complex skill. There are all sorts of tiny muscle movements that you have to get right. You have to do these in a particular order, at a particular time, often synchronized with a whole load of other musicians who are all also human and fallible. So it is inevitable that you are going to make mistakes. Do not worry about individual ones that you make and think, oh, but I could have stopped it. Maybe, but you'll never stop all of them. So you need to get used to accepting some of them when they happen as just fine. And there's more than this. If you want to be innovative as a musician, if you want to make your performance extraordinary, then you have to risk mistakes in order to do that. If you play it safe, then it's just not going to happen. And if you want to develop your skills further, go as far as you can, then certainly when you're practicing, you have to stretch yourself. You have to go for things that you're not sure you can do. Again, you have to risk making these mistakes. So it is a balancing act. It is accepting the risk of mistakes versus trying to reduce the number of errors that you make that aren't necessary. But as long as you accept this balancing act, that risk must be there. And that means that underneath things, you have to be happy to accept those mistakes when they happen. Think about it. If you're saying, sure, I accept that to play really well, I've got to risk mistakes, but then you react negatively to them when they actually happen, you haven't kept your part of the bargain. You're saying you're accepting risk of mistakes, but then you're not actually doing it in practice. And let's look a little more deeply about why you react negatively to mistakes. Why do we react negatively to anything? The reason for it is because it's something that we want to stop happening. Feeling bad about something when it happens causes us to avoid that thing in the future. If I feel bad when I've binged on junk food in an evening, that is because I would rather that I didn't binge on junk food. So that negative feeling is going to help stop me from doing that again. But if you can't avoid mistakes, if you shouldn't avoid mistakes, then what's the point of that negative feeling? This is not something that you're looking to stop happening. So Don't tie that negative feeling into mistakes, because it's not actually serving any useful purpose here. And worse, it's actually putting pressure on you. If you're causing yourself pain when you make a mistake, then there is now pressure on you to avoid that pain. And under pressure, that's when mistakes tend to happen more often. So it's really counterproductive. So what do you need to do? You need to get happy to accept mistakes when they happen. Now, this doesn't mean that you don't try and avoid them in the first place. It doesn't mean that you don't use them as feedback when they happen to improve in the long run. You definitely want to do all those things. But when you make a mistake, you do not cause yourself pain as a result of that mistake. You accept that it happened and that was fine. So here's the deal. If you see making mistakes as somehow wrong, then you're going to be suffering the whole time that you play music. This is totally unnecessary. Do not force that on yourself. Learn from your mistakes. Use them as feedback, yes, but know that you can never eliminate them, and so you're just going to have to accept them. I hate seeing people playing music and finding it a frustration, having all the joy sucked out of it as a result of their attitude to mistakes. So see if you can change your beliefs around this. See if you can change your attitude to mistakes. If you can, I think you'll find that playing music can be pure joy pretty much all the time. Now, I definitely recommend that you check out my video on how to deal with self-criticism as well. And if you'd like the special practice and performance tips that I only share with subscribers, then head on over to playinthezone.com and sign up for the emails. They're free. I've been Mark Morley-Fletcher. Thanks so much for watching. Please click below to subscribe if you haven't already. And while you're down there, why not hit the share button to pass this on to other musicians. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.